Asad's, seminal argument was that the domain or category of religion presupposes certain liberal and secular assumptions about what religion is, what counts as religion, what doesn't count as religion, and then later, right, and that this kind of emerges as a feature of secular ideology or liberal ideology, and thus as of modernity, and that and later that this was becomes a kind of under secular regimes, which we tend to normally think of as being neutral towards religion, but in fact, Asad argued that it turns religion into an object of regulation. So out of that tradition came a series of important anthropological works, very famous works by Sabah Mahmood and Charles Erskine, that all looked through the paradigm of Foucault's idea of ethical self-cultivation, looked at faith that embodied practices are means through which within the Islamic tradition, the idea is not that Islamic practice is not just like a representation of an already given self, a prior existing self, but instead a means through which the self is cultivated and created. I think that I do make a critique of the Foucauldian paradigm because I think that sometimes, and this is not, I don't have an overtly harsh critique of it because, I think that the Foucauldian framework sometimes reduces piety to a kind of individual acting on themselves. I don't think that's entirely fair to both the works of Sabah Mahmood and Charles Erskine, but I do think that in some way that work backgrounds the dialogical, interactional nature of pious, both self-formation and community formation. And so my book is an intervention into that. And I add, I think, to this kind of Asadian paradigm. I both critique it, but I also add to it this kind of, like locating piety in its interactional form. So